My name is John Krantz. I'm married to Tracy Krantz. We've been to the branch. We're starting our 4th year now at the branch. My struggle has been food. In high school, I loved playing sports, and I was a football player. And I was lucky enough to be good enough to get to go play in college. The only problem was I only weighed 185 pounds when I graduated from high school. And when I got to college, they pretty much told me if I was going to play college football, I was going to have to gain some weight. And it worked fine with me because I love to eat. And so food became how I celebrated, and it became how I drowned my sorrows. And you know, anytime there was anything happening, hey, we won the game, let's go eat, or man, we lost, let's go get something to eat. I mean, everything. I didn't know what the question was, but I knew the answer was in the refrigerator. And so I just have a very unhealthy relationship with food. My next season, I was 235 pounds. So in 1 year, I gained all that weight from 185 to 235. And then I blew out my knee. And so while I was an intercollegiate athlete and eating tremendous amounts of food, it worked out okay because I was burning the calories. But when I lost that activity level, I didn't lose the appetite. And I used food to nurse me back to happiness whenever I needed it. And so the next thing I know, I ended up at 431 pounds. And I kept thinking to myself, at 300 pounds, well, I'm probably nearing my mature weight. I won't get heavier than that. And I kept lying to myself, thinking that, okay, now I'm probably as big as I'm going to get. And I'd find out next time I hit the scales, it was 425. And I kept noticing that I didn't have any pictures of me. Or if there was a picture of me, I was always in the back, and I was always hiding behind something. Right up into the point where there wasn't anything big enough to hide me. And I started coming to the realization that the people I love in my life are interacting with me like an uncle. When I would want to play with my kids, I would do it from my recliner. I wouldn't get on the floor and wrestle with them. And I wouldn't do things out in the sun because it got too hot and it was uncomfortable for me. And I didn't like sitting on the floor to do a puzzle with my son because sitting with my weight pressed up against my legs meant I had to put effort into leaning forward. And it became very, very difficult. And I realized I'm not dead yet, but I'm basically living like someone who's dead. And I kept fighting that with, well, let me get something to eat. That'll make me feel better. And I tried to diet 1,000 times. And as I kept getting bigger and bigger, I would eat more. Tracy was so sweet about it. She was concerned for my health, and she wanted me to be healthy and live a long life. But she never really was mean about it, like, you're not the guy I married or anything like that. She was so sweet about it. But it had to have an impact on her, and I knew that. And I was embarrassed. And so I would eat a little breakfast with her, and then I would drive through somewhere and get something else to eat because I wasn't satisfied. I wanted to eat more. And sometimes before I go over to somebody's house, I would go eat a whole meal because I didn't want them to see what it was I was eating when I was at their house. Because if I ate what I wanted to eat, I would eat 3 times what everybody else at the dinner party had. And those things are embarrassing. And so you learn how to hide it. And I hide it well. You know, I could figure out how to do it. And so when I saw myself hiding behind walls in pictures and not playing with my kids and thinking about people I work with being embarrassed about me or not being able to fit into a chair at a movie theater or worried about sitting in a booth at a restaurant because the table doesn't move and I can't be that close to the table, I started thinking, man, I'm making a lot of adjustments in my life because I'm 431 pounds. And I prayed. I thought about having the surgery because I thought, well, that's the quick fix. My doctor and I talked about it, and my doctor said, you know, I really don't think you need to do it that way. I think you need to do it the hard way, the old-fashioned way. My calorie intake when I was at 430 pounds, probably 5,000–6,000 calories a day. And so going to 800 or 1,000 calories to me wasn't fathomable. I mean, I just absolutely didn't think there was a chance I could make that work. But the doctor was convinced, and I prayed like I was on fire that I've got to do this. I have to lose the weight. I can't do what I've done. I can't have these kids. I can't promise the promises I've promised to my wife and die at 45 because I weighed 500 pounds. So I prayed and I started the program. And the first week was a little rough, you know. How am I gonna do this? White knuckled all the way through it. The first week, I lost 17 pounds. That was pretty inspiring. And then the next week, I lost 12 pounds. So in 2 weeks, I lost 29 pounds. And for the first time, something was working. And I look back on it now, and I think God's grace, because there was only 1,000 calories. I started on this weight loss journey just short of a year ago, about 6 weeks away from a year. And to date, I've lost 180 pounds. So oddly enough, I weigh the same today that I wore when I got married 15 years ago. You know, throughout this entire time I've been on this weight loss program, my relationship with God has changed fundamentally, because I used to think, why would God let this happen to me? And if I don't want it and God wants what's best for me, it's not best for me to be 400 pounds. So why is God not helping me in this? And somehow He changed my mind. And so when I get hungry now, I think about God patting me on the back, going, "You're doing so good, you can make it." And that keeps me going.